Buddha party. Awake, O Lord, over all mankind. Awake, O Lord of compassion, that the world good fortune may find.
Swami, as Sai Baba is commonly called, inspires his followers not only by the miracles that he performs, but by the example that he sets in his daily life.
The appeal that Swami has for me is that in this day and age, when in every country that you can mention, those who are in leadership in whatever field you can think of are providing wrong kinds of examples. There isn't. Every country has had disappointments in its political leaders and its business leaders. We see kinds of behavior that, are just not right, and we can see within our, for instance, in America, I think a lot of people see society just degenerating, becoming a very undisciplined, almost unlivable situation, at least in a lot of the cities. And I used to place some faith in political. We were involved with political party for quite a period of time, and thought maybe that, that seemed to be, we tended to be activists along that line. And then I got kind of disenchanted with that, seeing that, it can't be done at that level. Whereas if you could change yourself, which is possible, because we were beginning to experience the fact that we could change ourselves. We were already beginning to see things in a different way than we had before, and it turned from a very self-centered kind of thing to something better. And so I guess that's what it's a very, to me, it's a very hopeful kind of experience, but it has to be, each individual has to do the changes. We change society by changing ourselves, and that's about all.
The other day in the Mandir, Swami gave us Westerners a very wonderful, inspiring and intimate talk. And in the middle of this talk, he was declaring his true nature, and he was saying how he is in fact, although he appears to us as a human being, he's not that at all. And then, quite astoundingly, he moved his hand in very large, sort of strong circles, and a diamond appeared in his hand. It was a big diamond. It was flashing and sparkling. And he said, "Look, look, look," and then he blew on it and it was gone. And it was very, very remarkable.
What he did was he materialized, there were some Mexicans with us, and he materialized a picture of a ring of Jesus Christ. Now this ring, when it came down, it was in the middle of Swami's hand, and it was spinning round very fast. After he moves his hand, it was spinning very, very fast in the middle of his hand. And then he held it like this, and he showed it to everybody. Then he asked this Mexican, "You like it?" Then he passed it round to everybody, and everybody had a good look. "You want Jesus Christ? You want Jesus Christ?" He said, "No, Swami, I want Baba." So Swami went, "You want Baba? You sure?" Then he went, 3 times he blew on it, and it became a square ring with his picture on it. And then he materialized one pendant for a lady in our group who hasn't got mental peace because of her daughter who's having marriage problems. Then he materialized Lord Shiva's pendant for an old lady. The whole family is here, Sharma family, and they're devotees of Lord Shiva. Now this Shiva picture is the exactly picture they have in the house which they worship. The colors, the exact picture is there, same, no difference. The colors, the shape, and whatever is in the picture at home is in this picture.
Has, he materialized a ring for me in an interview a year and a half or so ago.
Is that your ring?
Yes, but unfortunately, after he put it on my finger, it would not come off. And you can see that his image is slowly disappearing because I tend to work with my hands a lot, and sometimes I work with cement and and different things, and so it's slowly wearing his image off. You know, his hand was right here, as close as my, so I could, you know, and I've seen him materialize vibhuti at that distance, and you see it form, and then you notice as he does, he closes his hand is upside down, and he has to close his hand to catch the vibhuti as it comes out of the palm of his hand. And this, you know, I mean, there's no way that it can be any kind of a, he says it's to catch our attention, but don't let it distract you from what he really wants to give.
My wife and I were attending as the summer course. We arrived in Bombay on the 13th of May, and Swami was in Bombay. So we went and had his darshan in Bombay Dharma Kshetra, and when we came back, we used to stay with a friend whom we have met for the first time. At his house at 9:30 we were sitting, the table was being set ready for dinner, and at that time my host's, his friend came along and he said his sister was very ill. She had jaundice and she was 5 months pregnant, and the doctors had given up every hope. So when I heard this, I couldn't do anything because we were on our way to Swami, and I just prayed. So this friend went away and we had our dinner, and in the meantime I was talking to Swami in my mind. Swami, you are the only one who can help. What can we do? And then after a while something happened, and the inner voice said, just give them the vibhuti and ask him to take it to the hospital straight away. So at 11 o'clock at night we went to my friend's friend and gave him this vibhuti which had come. We ordered some books and the vibhuti packet was in the book, so I was carrying that all the time. So I gave this packet of vibhuti to him and I said, if Swami's wish, it will help you. Go and take this vibhuti to your sister and give her some in the mouth and put a little dot on her forehead. Now these people, they live in Andheri East. They had never heard of Swami. They're only about a few miles away from Swami's center in Bombay. So he did this, and as the Lord would have it, the girl started gaining consciousness and she recovered fully. Apparently afterwards we found the doctors had had a meeting and they had given up all hope, and when we came back to Bombay after 30 days in Vrindavan, the girl was well and was home.
One thing that we experienced, which is a rather convenient miracle that happened, was in our roundhouse, the building that we were in, and the pipe broke, and all the residents in the whole housing unit were without water, and it was very hot. I think average temperature was 105 degrees, 110 degrees, and when you come to darshan, which is when you come to see Baba, you want to be fresh and clean. Well, that was literally impossible. So I remember I was in the bhajan hall, and this is the 12th hour without water, and we used up all of our extra buckets. And I was just sitting there, and I had the thought pass through my mind, it'd be great if Baba could restore the water in our building. I just forgot about the thought, just a real quick thought. So after bhajan, I did some odds and ends. Then I went back to the room at 11 o'clock, and my roommate was there, and he's a doctor of mathematics, a professor, and also a department head of a college, so a very respected person. So I walk in the room and he said, Andy, I really appreciate you bringing the water up. Meaning we were on the 5th floor, the 4th floor, and all these flights of stairs. And I said, Charles, I didn't bring any water up. I'd never been in. I just got back. He said, well, there's a full bucket of water in the shower. So we went in there and looked at the bucket of water, and sure enough, it was a full bucket of water. We turned on the tap, and the tap was not working still. And we tried, first we thought, well, somebody must have brought the water up. That could be the only explanation, but who would bring up, walk a quarter of a mile where the nearest tap was operating, and walk up 4 flights of stairs with people who were hauling water up to their rooms.
Right.
And we had a combination lock on the door, so nobody could have gotten in.
Oh, I see.
And when he walked in the room, opened the lock, walked in the room, there was a full bucket of water. So we sat around and tried to think, well, how could the water could have gotten here with a locked door and broken water pipe with no tap running? So we finally figured out that it was Sai Baba who had manifested the water somehow.
Trip, we had another experience. This was when Swami, on one day when he was giving a discourse on Bhagavad Gita, it was raining very, very heavily, and we were all sitting outside the auditorium, and it was raining on the left and it was raining on the right, and it was coming towards us, and we were all prayed. I prayed personally that, Swami, you've got to stop this rain. And you won't believe, I could see Swami from where I was sitting, and Swami held his hand up like that in the air, and it was raining on the left, it was raining on the right, but where people were sitting listening to the discourse, there was no rain. And after the discourse, when we went home, it really poured.
Two medallions that you hold in the palm of your hand. One of the medallions, they're about the size of an almond shell, curved like that. And one of the medallions has a picture of Sai Baba and the other of Shirdi Baba. You hold these two medallions in your hand, and for the last 20 years they've been producing this very sweet liquid called Amrit. It's a very, very sweet, sort of a perfumed, very thin honey water. And the thing that was most striking for me about this particular miracle was it was one that I just couldn't have any doubts about. When you see the vibhuti, you ask yourself, well, could somebody have put it there? Or when you see Baba move his hand, could it be like a magician? There are always these little doubts that come up. Amrit slowly dripped down my hand, and then the gentleman there, Halagopag, would take the spoon and put the Amrit in my other hand. Amrit was dripping down. It was sort of a continuous, very gradual, slow dripping. So it didn't seem too unusual after a while.
In the first place, I mean, Swami has that ability to appeal to people of all different persuasions and personalities and characteristics, and in our case we tend to be, maybe from our Mormon heritage, a little more pragmatic and practical about things. We weren't interested in any of the, any strange phenomena of any sort. That didn't attract us. I think sometimes people, when they hear about Swami's materializations or some other things, they become interested. That didn't particularly, I mean, I could take it or leave it, but I think the thing that maybe kept us going was the fact that we could see in our own lives that we were better able to deal with something was happening on a subtle level that made it possible for us to deal with the problems that we had in our work and in our family. And it offered a little island of peace and sanity, I mean, which got to be a little bigger and bigger as time went on. So,
well, there are a lot of things that have happened, but I think Sai Baba, maybe fortunately or unfortunately, is famous for his miracles. But I think more importantly is the inner transformation that he causes in people.